Good morning. Hmm. Let me just jump in. 2012. Go with the flow or keep status quo. How do you choose to see the world? Everyone must answer that question for him or herself. As we continue to go through upheaval and change, the question will be more and more unavoidable. There are and always have been those that see such transformation as a kind of war between the old and the new, in which the old seems as if it was replaced by the new. There is a smaller number that interpret the change differently. The old is still there with the new. There was no battle at all, simply a new perspective and a different way of explaining reality. What precipitated the title and topic for today? Well, there's actually a couple of things, but the one that I'm drawing your attention to in this moment is one of my friends on Facebook, Sunwolf, sent me the recent Drunvalo Melchizedek interview with Lilu, in which he asked, "Hey Ron, can you please check this new interview with Drunvalo and let us know your thoughts? Seems like there are some bold announcements here. I've always admired DM's wisdom and his heart-based way to approach any subject, but also value a lot of your wise perspective on current events. Thank you so much. Namaste." And I watched the interview and listened, of course. And I responded back afterwards, like you, Sunwolf, I too admire DM, Drunvalo Melchizedek, because he does seem to come from his heart, as I do my best to do as well. My vision of the world differs from his, though. I see what he describes as a cataclysmic transformation. I long for a processional transformation that does not destroy the old. It merely transforms it by shifting the perspective somehow. That's what I mean when I talk about building a bridge from where we are to where we are going. Wait a minute. Oh, without such a bridge, I'm sorry. Without such a bridge, the old is meaningless. With the bridge, it becomes meaningful. I'm not saying I am right and he is wrong because, frankly, I admit that I do not know the hows. We both agree that a big shift is happening. The other aspect that was on my mind as I meditated on these things this morning and yesterday actually as well is I was raised a fundamentalist Christian in which my worldview was shaped by my teachers at the time, which saw basically that the world is a battleground between the forces of good and the forces of evil. That's the fundamentalist viewpoint that I was taught, although I can see that there was evidence that I questioned some of that even at an early age, even as a teenager. There were things in my life that made me question, why does it have to be a battle? Why can't it just be love? Why can't love just transform it? Why does it always have to be a fight and trying to eliminate an apparent enemy? And of course, as I've gotten older and gone through many more processes, I think exactly that it can be done just by love and transformation. That what shifts is we begin to see the enemy as another part of ourself that is calling for love. And by loving it, we change the whole thing. It's still there. It's still there, but we see it with different eyes. And this morning as I was meditating, what came to me is evolution. Let's just say, for example, evolution really did happen, that fish developed legs and walked up out of the sea, and that some of them developed wings and feathers and were able to fly. We still have fish. We still have the mammals that walked up out of the sea, that became the reptiles first. And you understand what I'm saying? You still have all of the old present. All you've done is you've created something new to look at. A new creature, if you will. The old is still there. There was a bridge between the old and the new that gave us a transformation that we could witness. Okay, there it came from that and went to that. I think that is what's happening. That's what I perceive happening in our time. Now, Drunvalo pointed out in his interview that NASA, and especially Russian scientists, and he also said that there are British scientists, and the British government is saying that the sun snares are going to get so bad, among other things, they're going to get so bad that it's going to wipe out all of our electronics and bring about such cataclysmic events that we're going to wake up in a new world. 3 days of darkness theory. Sheldon Neidl, whom I also greatly respect, as I do Drunvalo, he says the same thing, that the surface of the earth is going to go through such dramatic and cataclysmic change that nothing is going to be left of the old. We're going to have to either be taken up into spaceships to survive, or else go into the inner earth to survive while all this cataclysm takes place on the surface of the planet. I hope to God, as I held the earth in my hand, or the globe in my hand this morning in the meditation room, that that is not going to be the way it happens. I ask Great Spirit, all it is, Creator God, to allow for the transformation, to maintain the continuity between the old and the new. Build the bridge. Help us build the bridge. There are galactic forces from the sun and other areas of the galaxy, and probably beyond the galaxy, that are lining up this year in 2012 to bring about major change. No question about that. I don't doubt that a bit, and Drunvalo doesn't doubt that, and nobody that's a visionary doubts that we're going through significant change that will be unavoidable. Nobody in their right mind, and that has an open mind, can possibly not perceive that this is the reality that we're in 2012. To the status quo people, the fundamentalists, the ones that look back and interpret the past as this is the way it always has been, or the way we've defined it anyway, so it's going to always be that way. Fundamentalists do that. In religion, they look at what's already been written, whether it's the Bible or the Quran or something like that, and they measure everything by the understanding and interpretation they put on what was given to us in the past. God, a lot of Christians believe, stopped speaking to man when the Bible was finished. There was no more need. I mean, I heard that when growing up. There was no more need for God to speak to man because God gave us the Bible. And that's all we need. God said it. I believe it. That settles it. End of conversation. There are people, you know people. If you're like I am, you know people that think exactly like that. There are also scientists that think exactly like that. They look at the geological data and they say, wow, there's evidence of these pole shifts, and there had to have been great significant destruction that took place when the pole shifted like this? What if the pole shift was more than just physical? I don't know. But what if it was more than just physical? In geological time, we don't remember. It was before our time, you know what I'm saying? We don't remember. Drunvalo says that we've all done this before. We've all done this before. Well, maybe not as human beings. Maybe we did it before as rocks and mountains, or some other material manifestation of creation. I don't know the answer to that. Do I believe that we've all gone through everything? Yes, because I believe that God is in everything and we are part of God, and so we've been there from the beginning. I absolutely believe that, and I've even run into some amazing fundamentalist Christians that seem to believe the same thing. When Jesus said, "Before Abraham was, I am," he was telling the truth, but not just about himself, about all of us. All of us. We've all been here for the ride of creation. We've all gone in this amazing journey of discovery through creation, where the old gives birth to the new, and the old doesn't disappear, but the perspective of the old does disappear. The symbol of the phoenix rising from the ashes, that is the symbol of the status quo people. Well, we can't keep the status quo. It's going to have to go, and it's going to have to be destroyed. Destroy the old so that we can have the new. Why? I ask myself, why do we have to destroy the old to have the new? Why can't we do what I've done in my life and to begin to see with fresh eyes that I can take the things that I saw as enemies and I thought were out there, and I can say that's a reflection of something in here, because I am a perfect microcosm of the macrocosm. And if I can perceive it over there, it's got to be in here, or otherwise I wouldn't be able to recognize it. I can only recognize what is familiar to me, at least at the subconscious level of familiarity. It may not be at the conscious mind level, but at the heart level, there's a familiarity. There's a family there of points of reference that I can identify with. And so I transform the enemy as a part of myself crying out for love. And when I do that, the world changes, and yet it's still the same. What changed? My perception of it, my definition changed. How I would explain it to somebody. And some of it even escapes explanation. I'm not able to explain it to a person who can't see it yet, because they haven't had that part of themselves awakened. What if there's something going to happen, whether it's solar flares or extraterrestrials or some kind of planetary alignment, some kind of energetic shift of a photon belt or something? I don't know. I don't know the how, as I said to Sunwolf. I don't know the how. But what if there's something that's going to shift the way we see things? And by shifting the way we see things, it changes the reality to something that doesn't have to be cataclysmic. It can be a peaceful transition from the old to the new. You don't have to go into the inner earth or escape on some motherships in order to survive. Drunvalo said that ultimately we're all going to go through it. And I agree with him. I agree with him. But there are choices that we can make now that can make it easier. We can choose to go with the flow, or try to hang on to the status quo and says, this is the way I've always believed, this is the way I've always been taught as true, so it has to be this way. It has to be that the good goes to war with the bad and defeats it and destroys it, and it's gone. Well, what about if you just love the bad and transform it that way, without going to war, without doing battle, without raising sword against sword? Why can't we do it with love? Why can't we embrace the whole thing lovingly, with wisdom, and say, okay, yes, I used to be a fundamentalist, so I can love the fundamentalist, even if the fundamentalist can't love me and has to say imbecile and call me names, like someone did yesterday, by the way, which is why I chose that word. Someone read one of my videos and commented, another imbecile. Yeah. From his or her point of view, it seemed like a moronic expression. I can see that because I can remember when I was younger referring to certain people as idiots. What's an idiot? A person that's not perceiving something the way that I am. So therefore they're an idiot, right? When you get a little bit older and a little bit wiser, you say, why do I need to call that person an imbecile or an idiot or stupid? Are they ignorant? Yeah, but so was I. And I probably am now to someone else, because I don't know it all, but I can love. And love is the transformative energy that can make the difference between a peaceful transition and a warlike or destructive transition. Drunvalo is going to the experts, NASA, the Russian government, the British government, people that would like to hang on to the status quo and whose game plan has long been to destroy the old, because that's their perspective. I offer a different one. You can take it or leave it. I offer the position of loving everything and transforming the enemies into friends without having to destroy them, without have to go through annihilation and upheaval that produces cataclysm that makes the surface of the planet uninhabitable. That's my vision of the future. Again, you can take it or leave it. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I have the answers. I'm saying that's my vision. Thank you for listening. Namaste.